afternoon. My name is Lungi and I'm from Goldmine Finance. Today I have the privilege and the exciting honor of sitting with Grace Munyirwa, who is the founder of Vine Pharmaceuticals and obviously a business coach. Today we'll be chatting with him on different strategies that an entrepreneur can use around the franchising business. Welcome, Grace. Thank you for joining us. I am so excited. I feel like, a fan. I feel like a groupie at the moment. I'm so excited. I can't even contain it. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. So my first question is, take me through the journey. How did this all start?
Vine Pharmaceuticals starts purely, completely by accident. It was not supposed to start, I would say. But we needed to survive. So because I'd worked in the medical field earlier, so I thought it would be better to start a pharmacy with friends. So we started one. Then when we started one, we realized we could do two. Then we realized we could do three.
Okay.
Then we could do four. Then, that's how we grew.
All right.
Very, really small and humble beginnings. But we grew up to when we were about 36 in a space of about 8 years. Yeah, it was adrenaline at its best. Yeah, but we seemed to be walking on water at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any challenges?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. We didn't have the relevant infrastructure at that time to sustain the growth, and the systems to support the growth were growing way beyond our capacity to sustain the growth. We were growing beyond our cash capacity to really sustain and bridge that gap.
Okay.
So as we all know, they say that the number one law of entrepreneurial growth is that growth sucks cash. And if growth sucks cash, then every little growth you're going to make, you need to have the plan and the cash to grow and sustain that growth. Otherwise, it's very easy to come back to where you were if that growth is not well planned. So that happened, and then we had to fold back a couple of establishments to run from 36 to 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Share some of the joys and the highlights that have kept you actually growing.
Some of the joys have been the literal joy to see the people that you work with grow and understand the journey of entrepreneurship, because we are pretty transparent. So when things are bad, they also know how bad things are.
Yeah.
So we run almost what I would call an open book system. So it's the joy of seeing people grow, that they also love and want to be entrepreneurs on their own.
All right.
So our thought system is that you shouldn't work with us forever. No. You should grow with us and then also want to be an entrepreneur. So there's nothing we hide from you. We show you things are bad. If the landlord increases the rent, you're going to know, and you're going to know what that means for you as an individual and for all of us, and what that really entails. That all of us then have to chip in to make this better. Yeah.
So we see the world is changing, right? We're becoming our own bosses. However, some people aren't lucky to have an idea.
Yeah.
So here's somebody coming to you and saying, I have $100,000 US.
Yeah.
I've saved, I have itchy feet, I want to get out formal employment. What do you say to them?
I think business is good. Okay. Business is good. And there are various platforms upon which you can ride to make it. And I usually say that franchising is just one of the many platforms that you can use.
Okay.
So this is when you're using someone else's brand and infrastructure, and so you don't need to build ground up.
All right.
They say that 90% of businesses die in their first year.
Yeah.
And then 90% of the ones who survive die in the second year. So what then the franchising platform helps you do, someone has covered all this. And so they give you a ready infrastructure for you to plan on and plant into and then grow. So for that, you get a configuration of where you pay the person some fees, but they've literally almost removed all the element of risk for you. And so if you very well understand franchising, then it allows you also manage your capital very well. So your 100,000 would almost all go into working capital. So the capex is almost all covered by the franchisor. So you're having your 100,000 just being invested in the working capital. And for me, it is, I say, working capital is the capital that works. So that means that your chances of survival, your chances of thriving are very high.
Okay. Yeah, so with that in mind, and with everybody having an opinion, right? So somebody walking in and getting into the franchising space, do you consider that as entrepreneurial, or do you see that person as a real entrepreneur?
They are nothing less than an entrepreneur. They are really an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is taking a risk and getting a benefit for the risk that they've taken. You must honor and respect this person's $100,000.
Yes.
That is what they are coming and putting on the table. And so they are employing people. They are making people happy. They are solving someone's pain. They are offering a solution in the market. They are, like I said, employing people and employing more people. So that person is really an entrepreneur for all sex.
Okay. Just another question, an overall view. Pharmaceutical business versus growth. I mean, pharmacy is the most regulated segment, you know, because it deals with drugs.
Yes. Medicine, not drugs.
Sorry. Medicinal drugs. So you sit with those regulations, you are chasing growth, you are driving a business. How do you manage? What are the things that you look out for in that space?
Regulation per se is not bad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it an impediment. The thing is, there is control, there's guidance, there are rules, so that you don't play around with people's lives. So that means that when you come in as a franchisor, you are going to use this as a bedrock, and upon that, you're actually going to use to put in place more regulations and more guidelines. Because really, what is franchising? Franchising is play within this space. So pharmaceutical retail, let me say pharmaceutical franchising then is very well suited within the regulatory framework. Let me explain. Already, if you're going to play within the pharmacy field, you're regulated. Franchising is regulated by the franchisor, because the franchisor says play within A, B, C, D, E rules. And when you put money here, it will walk through A, B, C, D, E route, and then you get your return here. And that is the formula, that is the playbook. Please do not edit this playbook. We will innovate within certain limits. Yeah. So I find that the two are just two sides of a sandwich, but really the same bun. Yeah.
Okay. So we look at you today, and we know that you've done very well. You're an inspiration to most. You're not just known for Vine Pharmaceuticals. You're actually a business coach, which makes me think of where we are heading, you know, as, you know, at the African youth, where we can't be depending on one, you know, income stream. How important is it to innovate and get into different segments wherever you find fit? How important is it to grow yourself in that way?
It is important. You have to balance two tensions. Yeah. The need for growth, and on one hand, and the need for disciplined growth. Yeah. It's Jim Collins who said, disciplined people, disciplined thought lead to disciplined action. So the issue would be that grow in a disciplined manner, but have around you people who can help you know what kind of sectors and segments to go into and which ones you shouldn't go into. Let me give you an example, for instance. So if you're in pharmacy, then if you're going to invest outside of pharmacy, then you'd think, what are the complementary segments that you have an idea about because you're in the pharmacy field? So you'd consider maybe a cosmetics segment because that is kind of related to pharmacy field. You could consider supplements, food supplements, as a different segment. But even when you're talking of growth, please do not jump from pharmacy to a salon.
I get you.
Yeah. I mean, even innovation is disciplined tweaking of things, not anything. Yeah, otherwise you'll burn down the building. Yeah.
All right. No, I actually hear you. I'm sure everybody wants to know this question.
Yeah.
Everybody, when I said I'd be sitting down to have a conversation with you, everyone was like, please ask him what he's reading. What he's reading, you know? What are you currently reading at the moment?
I'm reading a book, Leadership at Scale.
Okay.
So a few ex-McKinsey consultants came together and put together a book. Because you see, any business to even survive needs leadership.
Yes.
Leadership really. All problems are problems about leadership. If we talk about Africa, African problems are problems of leadership, really.
Yeah.
And so when you go back to the business, the struggles of the business are really leadership problems. So how can you get a mindset and execution at scale, and what really fails many people in that journey? So I'm excited that that's the book I'm reading.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. How do I even put this into context? So we sitting as Africans, and I mean, we have this continent is so rich in everything, even intellect, if you think about it, and yet we're not talking about it. Yet everybody who's sitting outside of the African space is talking about how intertrade is the next big thing for Africa. Yet I don't even know what my neighbor can contribute to me who's sitting in Tanzania. So here you are as, a seasoned person in the franchising business. How important is this intertrade, and how do we start this journey, particularly with established products that are currently available or even brands?
I think we have to begin from a bedrock of saying, there is something you have that I don't have.
Yes.
There's something I have that you don't have.
Yeah.
So how can we then work together?
Yeah.
And so that is a mindset. And I think we will get there. Maybe sometimes we are being judged for within a very short time frame. But give it maybe the next 50 years, we will get there. Albeit slowly, we will get there.
Yeah.
I think that right now, the internet is allowing all these kind of things to happen. So you can get a designer from South Africa. You can get someone to do your video from Indonesia.
Yeah.
You can get someone to do your transcript from Colombia.
Yeah.
So Africa will inevitably realize all these advantages. And so it will be possible for me to say, hey, look, someone from South Africa, please, let's work together on this project. Someone from Zambia, coordinate with us and let's do this. The world around us is changing, and we can't help it but change. And as exposure increases, then we will be forced to change. We can't survive without, as an island on our own.
So what does it mean for Vine Pharmaceuticals to be in the rest of East Africa or even Southern Africa region?
That is a possibility. How? There is someone in Kenya who actually wants us to work with them and introduce this model to them. Because ours is a very simple model, really, nothing complicated. Nothing complicated. We work with people who have been our staff, and then we really decentralize. They are semi-autonomous almost. And we've seen in the last 3 years, people grow. People now take up leadership. And so how do you tap into leadership that is scarce? But how do you tap into leadership across the border? And so if we are able to complete this transaction with a person in Kenya, then we'll be able to export our way of thinking, our way of doing business to Kenya. And who knows, maybe to Rwanda and South Sudan and Tanzania. The other way we could do it is this. There are two ways we can play around this. We could say the lessons that we've learned in franchising pharmacy, how can we apply them in franchising, let's say, a salon business? Or how can we apply them in franchising a supermarket business? That is one. So we could have a house of brands within Vine. So we'd establish, let's say, a holding company which has several brands which are franchises. So we have under our house of our holding company various franchises, but we are learning from each other the practice and principles of franchising. We could get the same model we have as Vine Pharmaceuticals, franchising the way we are doing it now, and export that to Kenya, to Tanzania, to Zambia, to South Africa, to Malawi, to Southern Sudan, and all around us. Because I think there are lessons we've learned the hard way that shouldn't be put to waste. And if the number of people can tap into this and benefit from this, then we'll be open to doing that.
Right. So
they don't need to rebuild this ground up.
Okay. So you play in a much needed segment of the market.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no ways that people say, we don't need this, we can substitute with this, right? So, but you find that every industry evolves. Yeah. So you think that you're in a quiet space, pharmaceuticals is needed, and now competition is popping up because everybody is coming with different services and different ideas of communication. Yeah. How do you stay top of mind then in a market that's starting to establish that it can communicate in order to remain top of mind?
We do a lot of research.
Okay.
Believe me, we are not seated drinking pina colada. No. We do a lot of research, and so we know the trends that are coming up. Yeah. I'll give you one, for instance. So you'll find that one of the trends coming up now is having a large format setting of a pharmacy. Yeah. So the pharmacy is not just going to be a place where you go for healing the sickness that you have, but it's more for well-being. So you don't only go to the pharmacy for healing, but you go just to feel good about the pharmacy. So you're going to have supplements, you're going to have cosmetics, but also largely you're going to have a section of groceries that is going to be bigger than even the pharmacy. So you'll be shocked that studies have shown that people trust the supplement bought from a pharmacy than a supplement bought from the supermarket, even if it's the same supplement. So with that, you're going to have a large format. Leave alone the small corner pharmacy you see. You're going to see a relatively maybe larger 100 square meters kind of setting of a pharmacy.
All right. Last question.
Yeah.
So back to sort of like the first question. So you have me again as an aspiring entrepreneur, and I'm looking into Vine Pharmaceuticals. I'm saying that lucrative deal. I've seen what it's done. It's an established brand. Yeah. How do I get myself into getting a part of that brand? Where do I need to start?
Come and we talk. Let them talk to you and you talk to me.
That's too much work for me, but I definitely advocate for you. But what are the small things that I need to prepare? I can't just come to you and have a conversation.
Yes. Currently, because you see, we care about the people that we serve. So you'll have to first come and work with us. Okay. Yeah, for at least 3 months. Before we even sign up anything, come and work and see whether you love the way we work, the culture that we have. Because I think we have a unique culture. We are very transparent. We are very bubbly people. we are very, we say it the way it is. And so, is this the culture that you want to invest in? But also, we are very entrepreneurial. We argue a lot. You see? So you don't throw around your weight and title. So are you comfortable with that? If you're comfortable with us, then come and show you the numbers. Okay. You'll be happy.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been very, very insightful. I hope that the aspiring entrepreneur out there is also looking at, franchising as an opportunity. Yeah. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Once again, we're still shooting from Latitude Hotel. We hope you've taken a few notes. Remember to follow Goldmine Finance for tips and manuals on running your own entrepreneurial business. Remember, go for gold at Goldmine Finance.